In one sentence, why did you pick this game?
Well, I kind of want to pick both, not only the championship game, but the round robin game that had 3 fights in the first 9 seconds. So
We'll talk about it.
We can kind of go all over the board, but what an amazing time for hockey right now. It's just on an absolute heater. Not only the Four Nations, but now all of a sudden you go back to regular season and Ovechkin gets a hat trick in his second game back after the break, where he's 13 goals away from breaking Wayne Gretzky's goal record. Who would have ever fucking thought? So
I'm not a hockey guy, and I never even thought that would happen.
Yeah, there you go. That's why I just feel like there's so many casual sports fans right now that have become addicted to hockey just based on the energy that guys are putting into it, how they're so relatable, and of course just the action. It's 82 games, but guys show up much like football guys. Yeah. It's like they put on the gear and they're ready to go, and regardless of it being a quote unquote all-star format at the Four Nations, these guys were scrapping for each other's countries.
Was this the greatest game of all time?
So I would say that this championship game will go down at least as one of my favorites. As far as a rating standpoint, it was the most viewed non-Olympic game in hockey's history. So for what it did for the game and the way that it, just kind of reached out for our sport, I would probably put it as my number one at this point. That might be recency bias. A lot of people might be shaking their head, but I can't off the top of my head think of a more anticipated game in my lifetime.
As a casual puckhead, I couldn't agree with you more. Cultural impact of this specific game. I mean, we're not even going to get to see how big it's going to create because we're so fucking fresh off of it. But like that put the All-Star Weekend basketball, it like slapped that down like it was like the stepson, the redheaded stepson. And it made me as a football player be disappointed in our All-Star game and our Pro Bowl shit, whatever our activities. And it has to do with how the players came out and fucking showed up, man. It's one thing I've always admired about the hockey boys.
Yeah.
Like they're fucking a bunch of group of dudes that like to work hard, drink beer, fuck with each other, bust balls, hate each other in between the ice, but then be able to enjoy a pint after, man. This was fucking awesome.
Hockey culture's a very special place. And like, even the reason I'm in town is because I play with the LA Kings organization. They had a 10-year anniversary for our Calder Cup win in the minors. But it just so happens that they threw this charity event in the last 4 weeks. They put it together, and it was for all the victims of the fires, people who have been displaced from their homes, obviously the first responders and LAFD. So they were able to do this. So just the hockey community coming together along with celebrities, it's just an awesome culture, and it's continuing to thrive. And it just so happens it was on NBA All-Star Weekend. So I just feel like all the worlds collided where everybody wanted to shit on the NBA and maybe some of their stars' attitude towards showing up for the full 82-game season, and then the way that hockey really treated this Four Nations face-off. So it was an incredible event. And were you dialed in the whole time? Like, did you watch the full 60 minutes of the final?
I watched the first 2 goals, then I was sidetracked, and then I got back into overtime, and I saw fucking McJesus. I mean, he didn't even do anything all game, and I don't know it that well.
What were you sidetracked with?
I don't know. I think I was like eating a burrito or.
I feel like you have ADD like me,
I have
right?
terrible ADD.
I think you were sending memes. I think you were sending memes during the third period.
I was maybe sending memes about the game to my friends.
Talking shit like you guys had it in the bag.
To all my fucking Canadian friends, we got this. Yeah, it didn't work out.
No, it didn't.
I mean, that 3-fight game that put in everyone's radar. What the fuck is this Four Nations thing?
And the fact that, like, football's over, right? Football is a juggernaut. There's no taking viewership away from that. But after the Super Bowl, and not really much going on with the NBA, I mean, other than like the shitty All-Star game they got going, everybody's just craving some type of sport. So the timing of it all was just perfect for the NHL. And by the start of the game to the end of the game, it was the conversation on Twitter. It's all anybody was talking about, even if they knew nothing about hockey. They were just so invested in the hatred between USA and Canada, which at this point, You could obviously put the Russians, the Swedes, and the Finns at the top of the list, but the two leading hockey nations in the world right now are in North America, and it's exciting times.
All
yes,
right.
it is.
Let's break down the game.
This Team USA team.
We'll be quick with it. We get them.
Led by Mike Sullivan, the 23-man roster had a solid mix of vets and young bucks. This team featured 2 sets of brothers and 6 sets of NHL teammates. Notable dudes: Austin Matthews, the Chucks, Jack Eichel, Jake Gunsel, Connor Hellebuck, and Charlie McAvoy. It's an all-star team, so there's more names, but
It's an all-star team, but we didn't have our best all-stars out there because McAvoy had a fucking shoulder thing. Now, what's this? You got an infection?
Yeah, so according to the Boston Bruins, they released a statement. I don't know if they were necessarily crazy about how it was handled. So it escalated to now where he's going to miss more time. They said it was an infection in his shoulder. That's the only details that I got.
Gee, this is the shit that could get the all-star games fucked up. Your star player goes down.
Yeah, you don't want that happening.
You know what I mean? This is why this is what all the other people are going to say, like, this is why the other leagues don't play their best players all the time.
I think it would be short-sighted to not understand what this did for the game. That is part of the discrepancy and why the owners push back on doing the Olympics. The Olympics don't pay the NHL anything to use their resources. So these owners are worried about these guys going, and all of a sudden you got a guy like Jack Hughes. Well, what if he goes down where you're trying to make a playoff push with the New Jersey Devils?
Yeah.
So I thought in a perfect world, there maybe could be some financial kickback considering what hockey is doing for the Olympics or these one-off events. But I guess the viewership and the exposure to the game should be enough.
Yeah. Now, how do you describe this U.S. team?
Unreal. They got a little bit of everything. The biggest thing about the U.S. is the guys that they still have coming up, right? And there's a lot of young guys on this roster, like Brock Faber, very young defenseman for the Minnesota Wild, where if you would have watched him play, you would have been like, this guy's a 30-year-old seasoned vet. Another guy, Jacob Slavin. Like, these guys were not household names before this tournament who were just exceptional players. Zach Werenski's still young. Quinn Hughes, I think he's like, 25 years old? He's not that old, maybe 26. So that's what really stands out to me is just where USA Hockey is heading and the guys that they have on this roster.
What's prime age for hockey?
It might be like this with football, but it's slowly going down, it's quickly moving like down in age. I would say prime would probably be about 28 years old now.
Same. I'd say that. That's when I was at my athletic prime.
Yeah.
28, 29, 28. It's when your man strength hits your knowledge.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much the peak. And I think that US are really hitting that stride. The only thing about Canada now is Sidney Crosby's on the back nine, so that really sucks. Brad Marchand's on the back nine. So really this and the Olympics
Ghostface killer
will be will be a passing of the torch more so for the Canadians than the Americans. And we did touch on the Russians. Political climate aside, I think it would be a travesty if Russia was not able to compete in the next Olympics in hockey, just because of when Crosby and Ovechkin came in the league, there was so much expectation, and these guys have carried the league for 20 years, and you would be able to have Malkin, Ovechkin, Bobrovsky, and some of these older Russian players who have carried the torch for them, handing it off to the Kaprizovs and the next wave of Russian player, and much like Canada. So to not have them involved as a top 5 hockey nation would suck, specifically for the hockey topic. Like, sometimes when I say that on a podcast like ours, you'll see people commenting like, there's a reason they're not involved. It's like, bro, I don't know what the fuck is going on with all this warfare and political bullshit.
Puckhead. He doesn't do politics.
I got my grade 10. Yeah. I'm like fucking Ricky from Trailer Park Boys, for crying out loud. Like, I got 3% on my grade 11 math exam. I failed my states and capitals test, for crying out loud. So like, don't look at me for that. I just want to see good hockey play.
Canada or of US?
US.
That's not understandable. You're not from here.
Yeah. Right. Thank you for backing
That's
me on
understandable.
That. Yeah, you're a great guy.
I mean, be like, I would tell you there's probably 50% of the NFL that doesn't know all the states.
Or and can read.
And to be fair, I'd probably fail my territory and province test too if we had it in Canada. So, not the sharpest knife in the drawer. And Also, going back to my concussions, a lot of CTE here.
It's a great thing to blame. It's a good card as an ex-athlete.
Do you usually rely on that one?
Forget a name.
Yeah.
I hit in the head for a living for 12 years.
4-syllable word. CTE.
CTE.
Yep.
CTE. Yeah, CTE.
No, I meant going back to my word earlier. Sorry. CTE.
CTE. How do you describe this Canada team?
Well, on Team Canada, led by John Cooper, as usual, this is a heck of a roster led by vets Sidney Crosby, Brad Marchand, along with 3 Lightning players. Forwards were stacked: Connor McDavid, Nathan McKinnon, Mitch Marner, goaltender Binnington. Just
the Binnington kid. I thought I was watching that game. He had like 4 or 5 saves that I was like, this game should be over.
Yeah.
He had some like unreal saves in overtime and late in like the third, I think. Did he not? Or
they
yeah.
Looked
like they were open nets and he just fucking swiped that thing.
You're bang on. And I don't know how many people listening know his story. Kind of like my trajectory where he got in a little bit of trouble and was down in the ECHL and AHL. And then eventually he got recalled halfway through the year that St. Louis won the Stanley Cup. And he just went on this incredible tear. And he's actually named after Michael Jordan. His father named him after Michael Jordan. And he just kind of has that pedigree where the bigger the moment, the bigger he plays. And he won Game 7 in the Boston Garden. And then, since then has had a great career, but he really thrives under pressure and those moments where his regular season numbers might not be the best. But if you got one game and you need a goalie in that, that's who I'm picking for Team Canada.
Nut cutting time.
That's the guy. That's the guy. The Big Nasty. They call him the Snowman. I don't need to go into that, but he's got a lot of fun nicknames and he's absolute character off the ice. Going up top to John Cooper. Obviously won a couple cups with the Tampa Bay Lightning. I would compare him to like hockey's version of Phil Jackson. Not 10 championships, but so well-spoken, so methodical, unreal on the mic, an incredible motivator, and just really knows how to manage the egos.
Yeah. Who's the team asshole?
I would say that Marchand plays a perfect villain and is a guy who, from a veteran standpoint, and the fact that he doesn't have to carry the weight as so much of a player in that locker room that we're looking at right now, he's the guy who probably handles all the media and settles the guy down the best and is also chirping the most on the bench. You don't want Connor or McKinnon having to worry about joshing with the other team. You want to have guys who are defactors and guys taking the focus away from that. I thought Hagel did an incredible job against fighting Matthew Tkachuk, even though he's a little bit undersized, and handled himself well in the media as well. So Canada had its dogs in the lineup.
How do you sum up this rivalry, Canada-US now? It's got to be at the highest it's ever been.
I think that hockey is going to do insane numbers at the Olympics in Italy. I also think that this experience of controlling the best on best tells me that the NHL doesn't need the Olympics to grow it because you're also in a different time zone. So now it's inconveniencing North America where hockey's at its biggest. And also with the best on best being either in North America and or Sweden and Finland, you are in the mecca of where hockey can grow the most and the most people are watching.